Sharma.
Namaskar, I am here at Mont-de-Marsan Air Base in France, and here the joint India-France Air Force exercise Garuda 6 is on, and behind me is the French beauty Rafale, which is soon going to be part of Indian Air Force. According to Hindu mythology, Garuda means half man and half bird. It is also called the king of birds. It is enemy of all snakes. So watch with me the thunder of Garuda.
Roaring to take on the skies, this is Sukhoi 30, followed by Rafale, Mirage 2000 and the French advanced trainer Alpha Jet. Supporting the refueling in the skies is the Indian IL-78.
Right now I'm here at the Mont-de-Marsan Air Base, and as you can see, the Sukhoi 30s are getting ready. This is the mission of large force engagement, which means that the area of engagement is very large, goes up to around 100 kilometers. 4 of our Sukhois along with 6 to 8 aircraft from the France, including Rafale, would be participating in this mission.
110 officers and technicians from the Indian Air Force are participating in this exercise, which sees 2 waves in the day and 2 in the night. The whole exercise is being monitored through high-tech radars in the control room, where both Indian and French officers are closely monitoring the situation.
Right now I'm in the control room, and here you can see the Garuda exercise is being closely monitored, and I have with me Koti, who is the director of this exercise. Let's talk to him. Can you tell us what is being monitored here?
Here you have the monitoring, the general monitoring of the mission. So you have all the air controllers who are controlling the mission, and thanks to the devices we can follow the mission in live. And we have the Airbus who is supervising all the mission from here. You have him behind you, and you have as well the range training officer who is able to assess the missiles in the air thanks to the communication and so on, and the replication on his screen. He can assess the missiles which are simulated, firing in the air, and remove the guys who are dead in order to let the mission continue and go to the aim of the mission.
How many people from the Indian Air Force are also here overviewing the Garuda exercise?
On all the contingents of Indian Air Forces, we have 110%. At that stage, you have the pilots in the air, you have the technicians on the parking, and we have some pilots as well here following the mission in itself, in order to know how the Airbus is working, how we do with the range training officer, just to have the essay on the mission, the situational awareness, and to know how we work on it.
Since it's being this facility supervises the exercise and to see that nothing is wrong. So till now, since it all started from July 1, did you detect any problem was detected, or everything is going on smoothly?
It's going on smoothly. We have, the missions are increasing. The difficulty is increasing along these 2 weeks. The first week was to familiarization flights, for the Indian forces, just to discover the specificities of France, controls, airspace, and so on. And then for the second week, the aim is to cooperate and to work together to make these missions, to train to the entry force. The aim, is really simple, is to simple. It's simple like this, but as we are 2 different countries, the language, the accent of English is the most difficult, because the tactics, the way to do it, and so on is the same. So we have to train for that, to exchange, to share our specificities, our skills, in order to have the same tactics and to be able to conduct this mission all together.
Just for the benefit of the viewers, what does it mean when we talk about difficulties increasing?
The difficulties in the first mission is just 1v1, you know, one Sukhoi versus one Rafale, just to discover the aircraft, the maneuvering and so on. And the difficulty is increasing as the amount of assets is increasing. The more assets you have, the more difficult it will be, and as well for the threat, for the scenario we have done, the threats are increasing along the days and so on.
One last question, is it different in day and different in night, or is it all the same, and how are the Indians doing?
We have 2 night missions for the last week, one yesterday and one tomorrow. We are used to saying a night flight is a day flight, but it's night. So yes, it's a bit different, but because as you don't have the same how can I say, feeling about the features outside and so on, you have to be really concentrated on to be focused on the handling of the aircraft, and it's different, but we train like this by day. You know, safety is a paramount issue. To stay in your altitude, in your sanctuary, if you don't have the full situation awareness, by day and by night it's the same.
So there you heard Kurti, and he is the man who was also there in 2014 when Rafale came to Jaisalmer, and we are all expecting that this time the Indian Air Force is all prepared, because in a couple of months Rafale is going to be very much part of the Indian Air Force.
There is a lot to learn from both the nations, and the Indian Air Force is making full use of this opportunity.
Inside the control room, the Indian team is there with the French Air Force, and I have with me Wing Commander Paras. Let's talk to him and find out, Wing Commander Paras. It's an excellent opportunity for you guys. So how are you feeling, and how long have you been training here?
Yeah, we are here for last 2 weeks, and it's a very learning experience. We are exposed to how the French Air Force works, how they control aircraft. And similarly, we are having a similar pattern, and by exchanging our experience and exposure, we both forces are learning with each other.
So what's so special about this mission as far as this control room is concerned?
This is a control room where from various forces in large force engagements are being controlled, and from one area to another area, and how the various aircrafts fight with each other. Because aircrafts are divided into 2 teams, and now the one team is being controlled from here and another from AVAX or other control rooms.
So when we talk about large Air Force engagement, what could be the strength? Any limit?
Yeah, this may vary from 8 to 10 aircrafts to 20 to 25 aircrafts as well. As per the phase, we graduated from lower to higher, and we experience and learn new things while controlling these aircraft.
One last question. For how long does this control room work?
This control room works for 24 hours, like ours.
So there you heard, the control room works for 24 hours around the clock, and from here the whole exercise is being monitored and supervised.
The exercise is an opportunity to exchange knowledge and experience for both the countries.
At the Mont de Marsan Air Base in France, I have with me the leader of the Indian contingent. Let's talk to him. He's Group Captain P.A. Shah. So let's start with him first. Group Captain Shah, first of all, how has been your experience this time with Rafale?
Our experience has been great. Our experience has been wonderful, not just with Rafale, but with the French Air Force as a whole.
Great experience, and also with him is Group Captain Rodrigues. He is fondly known as Rods. So you've been training here along with the French A team. So how challenging was it?
It was a great experience, and more than challenging, it was a learning, much more learning value for us. Primarily because they work on same NATO standards. So in terms of understanding each other, it was not difficult. But going through various phases, that is starting from the basic fighting maneuvering to large force engagements, at each stage and integrating with them, I think the learning value was quite a bit, and we've got lots to take away and to continue to progress while we move ahead in years.
Lots to take away, and that includes Rafale. So do you think that now the pilots are ready with this exercise to take on, because in another few months we'll be having the plane with us?
Yes, I think it has. We have taken our first baby steps in integrating the Rafale into the Indian Air Force. Like we know that Sukhois we have in plenty, and the Rafales will just start coming in. And from the debrief which you saw today, this morning, just a little while back, you realize that every package is made of a number of aeroplanes. This is the first time we have been flying practically with the Rafales on the same side. So to that extent, I think it will help a lot in how to plan and fly together.
It will help a lot, and I also have with me Group Captain Arvind. So what was your role?
I'm commanding the Illusion 78 Squadron of the Indian Air Force, and our job was to bring the Sukhois all the way from India to France and take them back. That is the major task.
You flew from Agra.
We flew in from Agra, that's right. And we are also flying a few missions along with the Sukhois and the Rafales in the large force engagements this week.
So, does it also include refueling in the air?
Absolutely. The main job was refilling in the air.
Was it challenging with the Rafale or same with Sukhoi?
It's pretty much the same. It's surprising to see how common our procedures are. Our procedures have evolved in a very short period of time, but we have matched up to their capabilities within this short period. And since there is a very large degree of commonality, we don't find too much trouble adapting to the situation here.
So that's the Indian Air Force officer saying not too much of trouble. Going back to Group Captain Shah again, you have flown Sukhois and Mirage. Now, how did you feel when you flew Rafale?
The Rafale is an exceptional aeroplane. It's a great aeroplane. It has its strengths, and I think it will do yeoman service to the Air Force in the days to come.
Yeoman service. Let's ask Rods. How is it different from the Sukhoi, and to what advantage is it to us?
Sukhoi is a formidable plane, and
Because both are twin engines.
Yeah, twin engines, and the Rafale is also twin engines. Sukhoi is formidable both in close combat as well as BVR missions, and I think Rafale is equally capable. What we are going to use from it is what to exploit more. That is, the strengths of each platform have to be exploited in the scenario that is required. So I think both have the equally potent strengths, which we will work on and utilize it as an integrated package whenever we go for an operational situation.
So there you heard the Indian contingent. They are all so happy and a lot to take back home, along with Rafale, the experience of flying with the French Air Force. Rafale is an excellent flying machine in the sky. Its strengths are air defense, anti-access, reconnaissance, close air support, dynamic targeting, air-to-ground precision strike, anti-ship attacks, nuclear deterrence, buddy-to-buddy refueling. With the landing of this fighter plane, the first wave of day is complete. It is followed by one more for the day and two in the night.
An eye on big news of the day. With a close watch on developing stories, news of the nation, world, sports, markets and entertainment in a new style. Incisive analysis of the big stories by DD News reporters and experts. Watch Midday Prime English, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. only on DD News.
For this exercise, 110 pilots and technicians from the Indian Air Force were flown into Monde Marsa. And along with them came 4 Sukhoi 30, the Hunting Hawks from Squadron 24, Bareilly Air Force Station. One IL-78, the Battle Cry from Squadron 78, Agra Air Force Station. From the French side, Rafale, Mirage 2000, Alpha Jet, TAL, C-135FR and E-35 were used. The 2-week exercise was divided into Familiarization Week and the Large Force Engagement Week. The FAM week was used for the familiarization of the French specificities, airspace, control, agencies, etc. Recce of the surroundings AFD, the firing range and the basic DACT flights. The Large Force Engagement Week was used for the training of entry to force missions. In this exercise, 15 planes were used as striker, sweeper and slow movers with the support of AWACS and the Air Boss supervising the mission. Briefing and debriefing was done via Skype and using the TAC-View software. It included air-to-air refueling, interoperability, and for this, the IL-78 was used for the Indian side and C-135 from the French Air Force was used.
This is Air Marshal R.K.S. Bhaduria, the Vice Chief of the Indian Air Force, at the simulator before getting ready for the Rafale. It takes around 2 hours before actually taking on the aircraft. Along with Air Marshal Bhaduria, also seen is the French director of the exercises, Lieutenant Colonel A. Coty. And after padding up, it was in minutes before the two pilots were seen taxiing on the runway and taking off to the skies. And after the takeoff, it was an opportunity for us to interact with the flight lieutenant, which includes both the fighter pilots and the technical staff.
At Mont-de-Marsan, I am joined by a team which is very young of Indian pilots and technicians. They are all of the ranks of flight lieutenants. So let's talk to them about the experience of Garuda 6. What was the experience here in France?
It's been absolutely wonderful. All of us have been very fortunate to be getting such an opportunity at such an early stage of our flying career. And it's always exciting to see how other pilots think, and at the end of the day you realize that the thought process more or less is just the same. The French Air Force have been very good hosts, and it has been a wonderful experience to fly along with them.
Till now you've been flying SUs. How was the experience flying the Rafales here?
Yeah, it is, always a great platform. Every aircraft is always different, as you know. But, finally it is a great experience for us. Again, as he told, as to whenever you are flying a different aircraft, there are different challenges that you face. But at the same time, it, develops you into, it shows you different things about a particular aircraft, its capabilities, and you get to learn a lot. And to be honest, it is a really great experience for us.
So tell me one thing when we talk about the challenges. Now, air-to-air refueling in the plane-to-plane refueling in the air. So what are the challenges? Because there's a lot of air turbulence and all.
Okay, yeah. Air-to-air refueling is, part of our syllabus that we do in every fighter probably. And doing air-to-air refueling is as such one of the, challenging task for everybody. When we do air-to-air refueling, you have to keep small things in mind, like you have to match the exact speed of the refueler with your aircraft. And at times, as we see that there is turbulence, winds fly, there are, winds that come on ground also. Similarly, they are in air also, which are at probably higher speeds. So you have to cater for that also, because when that is happening, the refueler probe is also moving and the aircraft is also moving. So you have to be very particular when you are carrying out air to refueling.
Very true, but you cannot take to the skies before the craft is ready on the ground. So I have with me the flight lieutenant who takes care of the technical things. Tell me one thing. How long does it take for the plane to take off to the skies, and what is your challenge?
Well, it depends on the type of daily inspection that you do. The time limit varies from close to 1 hour to about 2 hours. And there are various challenges which we encounter on day-to-day basis. And to be specific, during international exercises, you have to make sure that the aircraft are available all the time to meet the mission requirements. And you have to cater for the servicing, you have to cater for rectification. So all those are the huge tasks. However, because of the support provided by French Air Force, we have been able to achieve every mission that we were supposed to.
The last question, we're talking about the French, now you'll be having the French beauty with you, so how exciting are you?
We are very much excited, and we hope that the Rafale touches our sky with glory.
IL-78 of the Indian Air Force has been the backbone of this exercise.
Behind me at the Mont-de-Marsan Air Base, IL-78. Now this aircraft has a very important role to play, not only in Garuda 6 but also ever since our fighter planes left Agra, because this plane is required for refueling in the air.
After about 2 hours of flying, the Air Vice Chief returned to the base.
After 2 hours of long flight, I have with me the Vice Chief of Indian Air Force, Air Marshal Bhaduria. Let's talk to him and find out how did he find Rafale. Marshal, how did you find? You are all looking very fresh. Is it the zeal of the soldier or the comfort of the aircraft?
Oh, it's both, I think. And as far as this mission itself is concerned, it was a very complex mission and a very large force engagement where the setting was complex, the level of planning was complex, and I'm happy to see the level that both air forces have got to in terms of execution of such exercises. From our side, it was particularly very good and important because both Su-30 and Rafale were taking part in it, apart from some other aircraft from the front side. So it was a really good experience. For me in particular, it was good to see what level have we reached in terms of depth of the exercise, intensity of the exercise, and it was good.
So there's a lot of talk about dogfight. So how good Rafale is in that?
See, the focus of this exercise was not in dogfight as to whether Rafale is better or Su-30 is better. When we do such exercises, the larger focus is on how we operate with other forces, interoperability, having our standard operating procedures sorted out when we do such exercises. So those are the larger issues. When we deal with combat elements at top end of the two air forces, what happens is in terms of planning, in terms of large force engagement plannings, we also understand other pictures in terms of what are the planning considerations. And of course, the pilots who fly, they draw a lot of tactical lessons also. So there is no need to get into dogfight issues of one versus one. That's just a build-up process when you do a combat exercise 1 versus 1, going on to 2 versus 1. They're just a build-up for both sides. The final plan is how we operate with each other and the complexity and the level that we can get to in these exercises. That is what is more important, and we have drawn good lessons from that aspect.
Roaring with the thunders of Sukhoi and Rafale is the Mont-de-Marsan Air Base in France. Announcing the successful conclusion of the 6th edition of the 2 weeks of joint India and France Air Force exercise, Garuda. The dignitaries from both countries expressed their satisfaction.
Garuda exercises over the years, over the past 5 editions and this one, the 6th one, have seen increased complexity of the maneuvers, of the planning and of its implementation. More importantly, the Garuda exercises are placed in a larger context of very strong, robust, growing, dynamic, strategic partnership between India and France.
Lauding the Indian pilots, the French Air Force chief said, "It has been mission accomplished."
We are developing more and more interoperability between our two air forces. I don't want to go further in the strategic perspective you mentioned. Of course, just want to say that it's not only French Air Force exercise, but before we had maritime exercise and we will have land exercise in India. One of my motto is to win as a team.
The 2 weeks saw 400 flights of Indian and French warplanes, with the French pilots taking 300 flights.
During this exercise, we have flown close to 400 hours, out of which 100 hours were on the Indian aircraft and 300 hours were contributed by the French aircraft. So that is the level of contribution from the French Air Force. Rafale and Su-30s flew together against a representative adversary.
After the press briefing, the dignitaries from both countries went for the static display of Rafale, Su-30 and IL-78. IL-78 has played a crucial role for the success of Garuda 6.
जो एयर टू एयर रिफ्यूलिंग का प्रोसीजर्स हैं, ये वर्ल्ड ओवर द प्रोसीजर्स स्टैंडर्डाइज होते हैं. रिफ्यूलिंग प्रोसीजर्स में हमने सुखोइस और मिराजेस और फ्रेंच एयरफोर्स के रफाल सबको साइमल्टेनियसली डे में भी रिफ्यूल किया और नाइट में भी रिफ्यूल किया.
But this was not all. The icing on the cake awaited us. And when it came, it shook us by storm. First the Sukhoi and then the Rafale, mesmerizing all.
We are all pretty much sure that the thunder of Garuda would have scared our enemies. But if there is any confusion, that Indian Air Force is ready for their Abhinandan with all its might. You keep watching DD News.